You know, I think I kind of missed something. Well. Hello, everybody. Welcome back once again. You know who it is? See, I can't keep mentioning my name because you guys know it's JJ's PC Builds, and you know JJ is me, so there's no sense of mentioning my name. Whatever. I seem to have forgotten something because a great subscriber did me a solid. Oh, gotta itch my foot. Sorry, guys. My great subscriber, Dakota Lee, did me a solid on a thumbnail. And plus, he joined in on a contest that I guess nobody else got in on, and nobody submitted to me or even got on, with Discord and submitted a thumbnail, in private. No one did it. So, except for Dakota, he did it, and I gave him the boundaries of what was going to happen, so he made me a thumbnail. As you guys can see, the thumbnail on the video is his. So I'm making the video recognizing him for making me the thumbnail and going above and beyond what I would have ever expected. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to be looking for the top 5 best motherboards from AMD, and then we're going to pick up from the lineup from the AM4 series. And the reason why I'm doing the AM4 and not the AM5 is because I have not yet had a chance to test anything on the AM5 series, so it would not be fair to you guys to tell you anything about the AM5 series at this point until I get my hands on some motherboards, some processors, and so on. Time is money, and basically that's going to take a little bit of money to get some, but I am working towards that. See, I got to buy everything myself, so I hope y'all understand it takes time for me to build product to showcase it to you guys and tell you all about it and my experiences and everything else about it. But there are some I can give my opinions on. So I went and took a poll from my friends list poll, which I have quite a few hundred people on the friends list poll, and asked them what the 5 top motherboards would you choose in the AM4 series. And they kind of got all together and they said, okay, well, and they gave me a list. So from the number 1 all the way down to, let's say, 25 or 30. Who knows? I lost count after that, but. And then I did my investigation and looked at their top list and put my 2 cents into it and come up with the conclusion overall of a decent list. But there is going to be, I am going to do a top 3 list coming soon that I'm going to ask you all the question of the top 3 processors. Which one would you choose for the AM4 series? That's going to be coming soon. So, but let's get to the work of this, and I'm sure you guys are going to have your input, and you can leave your comment button down below on the video. I'm sure I'm going to have a ton of comments about, well, you should have went with this motherboard, went with that motherboard, and this. Leave your comments. I'll read them, and I'll respond to you, and let me know what you think. But I got together with a bunch of people, trying to get a quick conclusion of what they would think is the best. I don't have a lot of subscribers right now for me to pull, to get that kind of poll, to get that kind of a determination, which we would think is the 5 best. So it's kind of hard to put that together. So in time, we're going to do this again, but hopefully by then we'll have some AM5 motherboards, and then we can do the top 5 motherboards when it comes to AMD AM5 series. That's going to be another question for another time on another video. So let's go ahead and just dive into it, everybody, and see what I got cooking for you. How about that? Alrighty, what I come up with was an ASRock right here, X570. Looks like they got it on Amazon for $74.84. Looking at it, it's not too bad of a motherboard. You know, I'm sure you can get like maybe $5 and get a couple heat sinks and put it up on some of the VRM chips up at top. That's like $5. I mean, so you figure you spend $5 more, you get $80, and you put small passive air heat sinks on them. That'll help make up the difference because they're like peeling sticks, kind of little heat sinks. You can buy them off of Amazon all day long if you want to go that route and you want to stay on the cheap. This is definitely going to be on the cheap for you. So let's look it over. Okay, so it says memory clock speed 2400 megahertz. The Ryzen 2000 series and Ryzen 3000 series for a X570 motherboard. Now you have to do your research, but I hope that this motherboard can upgrade to the 5000 series, and hopefully they thought that one through when they made this $75 motherboard. If they have a BIOS update that can update the BIOS to run the Zen 3 5000 series processors, then for $74, that's not a bad deal. Especially look at the power phase. It's a 10 power phase. It's not, I mean, that's not bad because usually you get a 12 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. But even if it's a 10 power phase, it's not that bad. It says it does DDR4 4066 plus. That's not bad neither because most of your RAM, you can still find 4000 series RAM. So that's not bad neither. So it's got, and they don't spell PCIe, they spell 2Pi 4.0. Okay, that's getting kind of cringy a little bit as we go along through here. They don't know how to spell PCIe. I guess they forgot the C in there. So, and it's got looks like it says it's got, I don't know why it says it has one M.2. When I see right here, I see 1 and 2. I see 2 M.2s, unless that's a different key. I see 3 actually. One's for the M.2 Wi-Fi. Okay, and you got 2 Hyper M.2s. So I still see 2 M.2 drives. So that's not too bad. You just got to look through it really carefully, guys, when it comes to the specs. You know, I mean, you got more motherboards out there, but this one for $74 isn't bad. If it's got a flash BIOS, which I didn't check to see if it had a flash BIOS, but you could pull the information for it. The ASRock X570 Phantom Gaming, I'm sure you can pull up the full specs of it to see if it's a motherboard you can get away with running AM4 series. So it might be something you might want to look into. $74, $75 is not too bad. Moving on, let's see the Asus ROG Strix B550A Gaming AMD ATX motherboard with PCIe 4.0. At least they spelled that right. 2.5 gigabyte LAN, BIOS flashback, dual M.2 heat sink, Aurora sink, and I mean, guys, this motherboard right here is the exact same motherboard I have in my PC right now. This is the same exact motherboard I have in my PC right now. And it's got all the coverage and everything else. And it's got the extra slots. Look, when it comes to the Wi-Fi, if you want to get an extra Wi-Fi card to plug in, you know, because that would be good for you, because if you think about it, what happens if they update from Wi-Fi 6E and they go to 7 or 8 or 9 or 10? At least you can buy a new card and replace the old one and get a better Wi-Fi than, just leaving it built onto the motherboard and stuff like that. I really don't care for the motherboard built-in Wi-Fi. Really, I don't. And that's one of the reasons why. But for $150, this is not a bad motherboard. This is not a bad motherboard at all. And this will handle all the way up to 5950 with no problem. No problem at all. So this is a good motherboard for you. Now we're going to move on to the third of the list. Asus Tough Gaming B550 Plus Wi-Fi 2 AMD AM4. This is 3rd Gen Ryzen 5000 series, PCIe 4.0. It's got Wi-Fi 6. Plus, it's got 2.5 gigabyte LAN with BIOS flashback, HDMI 2.1, USB 3.2, Gen 2, addressable Gen 2 RGB header with Aurora Sync for $219.65. Now, when I bought the 5600X3D and got this same motherboard here from Micro Center, it was $329 all day. $100 for the motherboard and $229 for the processor, so made it $329. I got this motherboard here for $100 at Micro Center. Got it with the combo deal. So you never know, you might be able to find the combo deal. Looks like it went up another $100, so really good motherboard, runs great with the 7800 XT. Just keep that in mind. Moving on. Let's see. We got an NZXT N7 B550. NZXT. All blacked out. And that's for $308. What comes with it? Same bells and whistles you get on the normal motherboards. Same bells and whistles. But, it depends on what motherboard you want. But for $300, that's what you get, all blacked out series. I think it looks pretty cool as a blacked out series. Because remember, white and black are neutral colors. So when you put RGB against all this, you can change the aspect of it. So makes it blend in more. Makes the RGB pop more when it's black or white when it comes to the motherboards. Or, you can do the option of, they got a silver whitish color, and they got the black. So you got the white and you got the black. But I don't think I'm going to spend $569 for a white version when you can get the black version for $308. That'd make more sense to just get the black one, scuff it up a little bit, and then paint it white. Wouldn't it make sense to do that? Just paint it white? I mean, take the front cover off and paint all the pieces white. Use a plastic paint. I mean, that would make more common sense to do that. Moving on down the road. Last but not least, Gigabyte. We got a Gigabyte here is $479. And it's the X570 Aorus Master AMD Ryzen for the 3000. I would imagine it says it supports AMD Ryzen 5000 series, Ryzen 5000G series, 4000G series, 3rd Gen Ryzen, 2nd Gen Ryzen, 2nd Gen Ryzen with Radeon Vega graphics. And it says see more. That's a lot of support for that motherboard. And they got a CPU list and everything else that you can get more information off for that. That's got a lot of juicy things in there. It's got direct 14-phase Infineon digital VRM solution with 50 amp power stage. That's not bad at all. That's a nice, decent motherboard. Now I had my reservations about Gigabyte, but that's a decent motherboard looking at it for the AM4 series. But here's the but to it: I'm not going to spend $479 when you can get an AM5 motherboard for half that price. But in the AM4 series, this is about the best. This is one of the best ones that they got cooking there. So we'll give them the props on the AM4 series. We're not going to mix up the AM5 series in this, but you know, it's not bad. This motherboard, I've never. I know other people have tested it. They say it's pretty good, but I have not tested it. So I'm giving you the my opinion of their facts. So they're saying it's a great motherboard, but it's expensive and pricey at the same time. So usually your best motherboards, you're going to pay the price for your best motherboards to get all the bells and whistles. So it is what it is. But it still comes back to the fact that I'm going to keep coming back to this one right here for 150 bucks, the B550A, because I'm running that motherboard right here, AM4 series, all day long. So I don't have a problem with that. But let's get down to the fact of the conclusion. Let's go to the conclusion. That's what we're putting us right here, right now. The thing is this: I don't think the ASRock is that bad. I think they got updates for it. They might have. So that might be something you want to check into. For $75 on a motherboard, I see that being reasonable for a low price motherboard for B550. Well, but it's an X570. That's the thing. X570. It's better than a B550. So I would imagine you're going to end up having to do a BIOS update on it. You're probably going to end up, if it doesn't have BIOS flashback on it, you're probably going to have to get a secondary chip to plug it in to do the BIOS update. And then after you get done doing the BIOS update, then you can switch to your next Zen 3 processor you want to put in there, like a 5800X3D or whatever. I think it'll run good with the 5800X3D. And especially if you tie them in with a great graphics card. I mean, 4070, I'm going to keep coming back and saying this, a 4070 or a 7800 XT. I'm going to keep saying those too, because I know people have tested the 4070 Super and all the Supers for the 40 series. That's fine. Whatever. But this 4070 right here from Asus is still in my computer, has not given me any problems whatsoever. None. And also, too, this 4070 comes with the 8-pin connector and not that 12-volt high-power connector. So that's the reason why I stayed with the 4070. Not the 4070 Super, the 4070. I'm still going to say this is good for, like they said, for overclocking. Has 2 fans. It's the dual version from Asus. Has not given up on me yet. And I'm past 1 year on this graphics card. I am well past 1 year on this graphics card. No problems whatsoever. Now, if you paired it up with the $74 ASRock motherboard and a 5800X3D, and I would imagine you can do a lot of overclocking with this X570 motherboard. So think about that as well. With all features and everything else. Look at it this way. For $75, and let's say you add with it, okay, well, we're going to do the math before we leave you. We're not going to leave you all hanging. So we're going to do the math on this. And I know this seems like I'm going off end, but I'm actually not. I'm kind of curious about this motherboard myself. Let's see. We'll do the 58. Oh, I am so. Let me go pause for a minute. I'll be right back. Alrighty, we brought you back really quick on this. Okay, look at this. 5800X3D for, let's say, $298, right? $298. And you add this X570 motherboard for $75, right? So you add that for $75. That's $373, right? This right here. It's right here for MSI MPG3 B550 Gaming Plus ATX motherboard. $398. That's $373. So basically you would save from $398. You save $25. That $25 you could put towards your RAM. So you can make up a whole system for less than $500. If you really, well, you can make up the system for like $500 and then stick, if you got a graphics card already, and just plug in your graphics card. That'll get you even where you need to go. So, or you can buy a new graphics card and add another however $400 or $500 onto it, make it $1,000 system. You know, or you can save up your money and you can turn around and go AM5. That's up to you. But me, I'm waiting for the price to come down on this, the 5800X3D. If the price comes down more, if it comes down to around the $200 mark, then that's going to be a processor I'm going to be looking towards for a little bit of an upgrade, because it's only a couple $100 and I don't need to upgrade anything else in my system. This is just the processor alone. If I want extra, you know, extra on things. But the problem with this is this. Those X3D chips don't do great on content creating. They don't. So that's where my kind of disadvantage is because of that. So, but just an idea. This is just an idea. If you want to build a system, okay, go to PC Part Picker, pick out your parts. It'll steer you in the right direction. And if you're still not sure, then leave a message on this video. Hey, can you help me with building a PC? And then we'll get you hooked up on Discord, and then we'll get the community involved and see what the best course of action for you and so on. We'll go from there. So, but those are the 5 picks of the motherboards of 2023 and right now in May of 2024. I'm sure there's better motherboards out there that I haven't seen yet, but we'll find out in another video, and we'll update it to, you know, a new list and go from there. But if you made it to the end of this video, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, hit the like button. Would be appreciated. Tell YouTube to put us out there on our videos. And also, too, hit that notification bell so you know when I post the next video. But until the next time, in the next video, this is JJ. We'll see you on the next one.